one of the oldest performing art venues in Los Angeles, California, as midnight comes pretty close to rushing down upon them.
Happy New Year, everyone. May all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. It's your turn. You've been so kind and generous. I don't know, you keep on giving, and for your kindness I'm indebted to you, and for your selflessness, my admiration, and for everything you've done. You know I'm bound to thank you for it. La 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 la. You've been so
In just a moment, we're going to go back out to Union Square in San Francisco, but the caption, it seems to me, for this picture may be, "Help, Ma, I'm trapped in Times Square." It wasn't very long ago we turned around and there was nobody here, and now they're back again. Jack Ford, what's going on?
Entirely going on. All I can tell you is that right now, as you mentioned, last time you and I chatted, we were talking about the fact that the revelers had emptied out and head home. As you turn around, you can see behind me, the folks are here. They're looking up at you right now, Peter, as a matter of fact. I think they're excited that they are still in Times Square, and I don't think anybody told these folks that the show was over, so they've decided to stay around for a little while. Peter, it's one of these events that does not wrap up very easily.
I think this may also have something to do with crowd control, because I see various lines of police moving through the crowd, and I wonder if people aren't being moved out, because there were so many people here tonight. It isn't easy just to dissolve from any city center anywhere, but this enormous crowd that was here before is now drifting through Times Square, and some of it has decided just to stay. Our coverage of Millennium 2000, the 2000 celebration on ABC, will continue in just a moment.
This is ABC 2000, the celebration of the millennium. Brought to you by Zyban and by Britannica.com. What's on your mind?
Night
provides no ambient illumination,
is scary.
yet objects give off energy in the form of heat.
It would be amazing if you could see what's out there.
DeVille DTS thermal detection system with a head-up display projects images of the road ahead.
Beyond the range of your headlamps.
The all-new DeVille DTS, the world's first car available with night vision. The power of and, the fusion of design and technology. Cadillac.
You are in the fight of your life. Just you against your smoking addiction, one-on-one. Trouble is, it's not a fair fight, and few people win it. But you can give yourself a fighting chance to win with Zyban. Zyban doesn't work for everyone. Zyban is part of a comprehensive program from your doctor to help you stop smoking. It's different from nicotine replacements. Zyban is the only prescription medicine that's nicotine-free, so you don't have to stop smoking all at once. As Zyban reduces your cravings, you feel like smoking less and less until you're ready to stop completely because you're ready to win. You should know there is a risk of seizure associated with Zyban. To reduce the risk, don't take Zyban if you have or have had a seizure or eating disorder, or if you take Wellbutrin. Don't take Zyban if you use an MAO inhibitor. Side effects may include dry mouth and difficulty sleeping. Ask your doctor if Zyban is right for you, because it can help you quit smoking by making it a fight you can win. Zyban, you don't have to quit all at once.
It's a freedom, adventure. It puts me at one with natural elements, liberating, allows me to clear my head. One of the few things I can do whereby I actually don't hear music in my head. Brings me closer to God, allows me to bask in the wonder of God. Being at the top of a mountain is one of the most incredibly beautiful experiences I've ever had.
I need love to ease my mind. I need to find someone to call mine. Mama said, you better in love.
Now there's a whole new way to snack and kick back. Introducing single-serving Tostitos snack kits. Just be sure you pick the right time to eat them. Dig in, kick back, Tostitos.
Arizona Angels coming to bat in the first.
America fell in love with her. Now television sweetheart is back. Mary Tyler Moore and Valerie Harper.
What are you doing here?
Pick up where they left off.
To new beginning.
An ABC original movie, Mary and Rhoda, coming in February to ABC.
Okay there, boys, all together.
Drew Carey's on ABC. Drew Carey's on ABC.
Okay, that's great. Now, tell me there, boys, what night and what time?
Wednesday, 9, 8 Central. Wednesday, 9, 8 Central.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Now, what goes great there with the chocolate cake?
Milk, frosting, horse, ABC.
in Times Square. These are people streaming down from Central Park, which is at 59th Street in Manhattan, and the police are gently, an emphasis on gently, moving people out in a southerly direction, which is how Times Square filled up again. At Union Square in San Francisco, they are celebrating life, compassion, and diversity.
Right.
Minutes to go in San Francisco, California. Judy Muller is there in Union Square. They woke up out there, Judy, right?
Yep, the crowd is really gaining strength, gathering steam, heading for midnight, Peter. Things have really picked up since I last talked to you.
Any chance you can tell us who some of the people are on the stage?
That's the Glide Memorial Church Ensemble, and they are quite a gospel choir, renowned in this city. And they have turned this crowd on like nothing so far. Everybody's got a little light that you can see them waving. And just before we came back, you came back to me, they were singing "This Little Light of Mine" with all their heart, waving those lights in the air. They're about to sing "Kumbaya," I think, pretty soon here, which is about as California as you can get.
Couldn't agree with you more.
They're wrapping it up. I should point out, Peter, that just blocks from here, there are traditional fireworks and a lot more revelry. This is sort of the other celebration in San Francisco.
Terror, terror, terror.
Union Square in San Francisco will continue there, I think, in a moment, if with any luck, because we wanted to talk to him. We'll get the mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, on the telephone. Not quite sure where he is at the moment, but you can guarantee he's out and about. We'll be back.
This is a fruitcake. You could spend the next few days enjoying holiday treats like this, or you could come to the Gotta Get a Kia year-end sales event and get a 2000 Sportage starting at $13,795 after $1,000 cash back. It's your choice. Either get $1,000 cash back during the Gotta Get a Kia year-end sales event, or enjoy your fruitcake. Nice save.
What sets some people apart gives them the confidence to succeed on their own terms. It's no secret, it's the Wall Street Journal. Now you can have that confidence delivered for 13 weeks at just $36.75, just 57 cents a day. That's a 25% savings off our regular rate, which makes now a great time to try this limited time offer.
Call now, 800-544-6400. That's 800-544-6400 for the Wall Street Journal.
America Online introduces new version 5.0.
The easiest just got easier. You've got mail, you've got pictures.
Instant messages.
Customer service is always there to help.
If I knew it was this easy, I would have started a long time ago.
America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Introducing the new AccuView 2 contact lens. So natural, it feels like you're wearing nothing at all. For a free trial pair, call us or visit your eye care professional.
Something new is here. A whole new way to take care of heartburn.
Introducing Pepsid AC Gel Caps. Just one gel cap controls as much acid as a whole roll of Tums. An idea that's very easy to swallow. New Pepsid AC Gel Caps.
Stop. You're chewing the wrong gum. Chew the right gum. Delicious Arm & Hammer gum cleans and reduces dirty plaque up to 25%. Helps reach places kids brushing can miss. Start chewing the gum with a purpose. Arm & Hammer gum in the toothpaste aisle.
A message for the fans of NYPD Blue.
Starting January 11th, NYPD Blue is back on ABC. Still on Tuesday night, still at 10, 9 Central, just like it should be.
Blue is back. The new season begins Tuesday, January 11th on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
Thanks for still being there.
There was a time earlier today when we were really concentrating on the first of the day, and we had the first baby born in New Zealand. But the first set of twins born on either side of midnight belongs to Indianapolis, Indiana. If my information is correct, one born just before midnight and one born just after midnight. One in the 20th century, one in the 21st. That's when we got to check. Our next performer is going to have an enormously big year in the year 2000. Among other things, she's going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. From San Rafael in California, Bonnie Raitt.
Well, it's a rainy night, and I'm all alone. Sitting there waiting for your voice on the phone. I'm a feel the time. It's a cold, cold sweat. Thinking about the things I haven't even done yet. Tell me now, I got to know, do you feel the same? Do you just light up at the mention of my name? Don't worry, baby, ain't nothing new. That's just love sneaking up on you. Whole world is shaking, baby, feel like I do. That's just love sneaking up on you. Sneaking up on your blind side, and you might as well stop the rain, stand in the trap of a runaway train. Just can't fight it when a thing is meant to be. Come on and let's finish what you started with me. Don't worry, babe, 'cause I ain't nothing new. That's just love sneaking up on you. The world is shaking, feel like it do. That's just love sneaking up on you. Happy New Year, everybody!
hear California grimace there for a moment, and I apologize. I know it as well as I know my own name, almost. We spent so much time in Latin-speaking countries today. Of course, it's San Rafael, just north of San Francisco. Speaking of which, we have the mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, on the telephone. Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, Peter, how are you?
Not bad, sir. How are you? How's the day been?
Oh, the day has been fabulous. As a matter of fact, San Francisco has exhibited the same characteristics that the rest of the world has exhibited. It's been calm and wonderful.
Now tell me, where are you at the moment?
I'm standing in front of City Hall, directly across from the Bill Graham Auditorium, where there is all kinds of things going on.
And where have you been today?
Well, I started out at a place called Moose's. You'll remember that up in North Beach. And I went from there to the Union Square, where they had a faith community service operation. I went from there to the Embarcadero, where we're going to do the fireworks in about 25 minutes. And then I've been to a couple of other private places. I checked in with my Office of Emergency Services, and now I'm about to check in at City Hall.
Any problems in San Francisco at all today?
None whatsoever. We've had fewer than 100 people arrested, and nothing for anything that's significant. It's been drunk driving or public drunkenness. There have been no incidents of violence. It's been, frankly, extraordinarily calm.
And the New Year's message for the rest of the country and the rest of the world?
Come to San Francisco and live the good life.
How did I know you were going to say that? Happy New Year, Mayor Brown. Thanks very much for joining us.
Happy New Year to you, Peter.
When we come back, we'll go back to Union Square in San Francisco. Our Millennium coverage will continue.
This is the face of erectile dysfunction. So is this. And this. Fact is, 1 in 3 men have some form of ED, a medical condition also called impotence that affects men of every age, race, and background. What else do all these men have in common? They all faced up to their problem and got help. If you're experiencing ED, there's no need to hide your face. Just talk to your doctor. It's the best way to get educated about ED and how to treat it.
Nice album. CDs. You sound like Dad. They're from Play, from Columbia House. Music Club? Been there. Forgot to send back those cards? Got stuff I didn't want.
It's different with Play. No reply cards or unwanted CDs. And check out the Play website. Easy ordering, email, hassle level 0. CD samplers with new artists and 12 CDs as soon as you join. Come on, let's go play.
Visit ColumbiaHouse.com or AOL keyword CH Music or watch your mail.
The King.
Should have used Energizer. They keep going and going and going and going.
Hey.
This is for those
ready to hit the road.
Hit the road. This is for a tough world.
This is for those looking for a solid experience.
This is excitement. Well built.
This is for right now.
Right now.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement and lease a Grand Am SE for as low as $209 a month for 36 months. Call for important lease details.
This is for me.
For me. For me.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement.
This is for me.
You know, I bet I drive more than a race car driver. Of course, I only go a few hundred feet. You can tell a lot about someone from the inside of their car or truck. Like how tall they are, well, the other things they'd rather spend their money on. Hang on, Roscoe.
Our lifetime guarantee means you'll never pay twice for any covered repair. GM Good Wrench Service Plus. It's for life.
Having a family vehicle you can count on is important. For people and for alligators.
ESPN Classic presents a special New Year's Day showing of ESPN Sports Century's 50 Greatest Athletes. If you missed any of the 50 Greatest Athlete profiles, here's your chance to see the countdown presented in its entirety. An all-day, round-the-clock marathon that no sports fan should miss. Watch ESPN Sports Century's 50 Greatest Athletes Marathon beginning at 7 a.m. New Year's Day, only on ESPN Classic.
This January, the main event is on ABC.
I'm the greatest. I am king of the world.
Muhammad Ali, King of the World, ABC Monday, January 10th.
this awful cold.
Poor baby. He'll be up all night.
Girls, because he's getting NyQuil for relief, rest, and
Good morning, ladies.
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest and have a good morning medicine. If you love the complete relief of NyQuil to get you through your nights, you'll love its non-drowsy daytime partner called DayQuil to get you through your days. Vicks DayQuil, the non-drowsy, stuffy head, sore throat, coughing, fever so you can get through your day medicine.
For most anything that ails your stomach this season, give it peace and goodwill with Pepto-Bismol.
I was just expecting to pay off some credit card bills. All of a sudden, I'm being asked what my goals and dreams are.
If you're a homeowner and you call 1-800-CHAMPION for our Pay Down Your Debt program, we're going to show you some possibilities.
I was given this plan that shows me which bills to pay off with the most savings, how I can use the extra savings to buy a new car, renovate my kitchen, pay off my home sooner.
We call it our possibilities profile.
It's impressive.
Shouldn't you know all your possibilities? When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
Now and always, happy holidays from ABC7.
Yeah, next one. One who changes the game and makes it conform to his style. It could be his control, his speed, or his power. But something will shout out, this is him. Because there will be a next one. There always is. The NHL on ABC.
Welcome back to our coverage of the millennium. We are now downstairs from where we spent the last 23 hours, and when I arrived, I began to think that we were losing it. But there's a great American tradition of barbershop singing called woodshedding. And we've managed to find together, which was what brought us down here, the members of the Acoustics, one of the world's greatest barbershop quartets, and the members of Spank, who we found, I think, first of all in Pennsylvania Station, and a couple of other street musicians, and they've decided they're going to woodshed, sing together, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Happy New Year.
Some amazing grace up in here, y'all.
Really? All right. The acoustics and Spank from the street and from the barber shop. We're very glad to have you. If you guys want to start an Amazing Grace, we're going to go. Now, we're about 10 minutes away from midnight in Las Vegas and in San Francisco. So we're going to go to Las Vegas to Connie Chung. A little later, we'll come back and hear them do Amazing Grace.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Peter? Las Vegas is remarkably calm, and I'm here with the mayor of Las Vegas, Oscar Goodman. To what do you attribute this calmness? You just came from the command center. What are you being told?
Well, first of all, we have an excellent police presence here that's taking care of everybody. But at the same time, I think that the public is really sick and tired of all the tourism nonsense, and they want to show that they could have a good time and behave themselves and really enjoy New Year's for really what it is in the millennium.
So you really must be proud of the area here because...
Oh, I love Las Vegas. I think this is the greatest spot in the world. I mean, we have everything here. We have right across the street the Eiffel Tower. We've got an Italian lake behind us. We've got Star Trek over there. I mean, we're at Luxor with the Egyptians. I always say that God forbid there be a natural disaster here. 200 years, archaeologists will come and they'll say, "What the heck was here?"
That's very funny. It's true.
It's true.
It's
absolutely something for everybody. It's the best.
Now, what have you been told about the casinos tonight?
Okay, well, I just was inside as a guest of the Bellagio, and apparently they had the largest casino win in the history of the state today. They won over, believe it or not, $500 million. It's incredible. And everybody in there who lost the money, they're happy.
Oh,
they're watching Harry Connick Jr. and they're happy. They're having a ball. They can't wait to go back to the tables and lose more.
That's just utterly ridiculous. Do you know that?
No. This is an adult playland, and people come here. They know what's good. They know what's fun, and that's why they come to Las Vegas, because they can do things here that they can't do anyplace else in the world, and really enjoy themselves.
Now I understand that you and Steve Wynn want to bring an NBA team, or actually any professional team here.
I won't give Steve all that credit. Steve ran a poll, and he said that what the people in the community want, they want a performing arts center, and they want a major league sports team. The easiest team to bring in would be an NBA team or a hockey team, because you need an arena. You don't need a big dome-type stadium. So I'm really trying to get that on. The difficulty that I have, in all honesty, is the hotels are concerned that there be competition with another venue. And we're going to work that out with them. We will have no problem with a betting line in that situation.
You mean people could still bet on NBA games?
Right now the NBA takes a position, no betting on the NBA games if there's a team here. I believe everybody's reasonable and we'll be able to work out what's best. I mean, that's my whole life, is making sure people are reasonable.
All right, we have just a few more minutes before midnight here in Las Vegas.
Right.
And yet, let's see, there are a couple of things that are going to happen here. Certainly no fireworks, because the police and the casinos all agreed no fireworks.
Right, and there was a reason for that, of course, because of all of the rumors, which thank God never came to actualization. They wanted to be abundantly careful, and I think they were smart in doing that. There are a lot of crazy people out there, and thank God they're not here tonight. But the ones who are here, they want to have a great time, and thank goodness that's what's happening. It's really great.
So we may see a human ball drop from the Eiffel Tower here. Yes. That is the Las Vegas Eiffel Tower.
Well, it may be the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. I think Las Vegas is the place.
All right. And then a show here of the dancing waters in front of the Bellagio.
Right, that's outstanding. I mean, people have to come out here. I know I love this town more than anything in the world, other than my wife and my daughter and my sons. But I love Las Vegas, and I love it for a reason. There's a genius here. There's an ingenuity that you can't find anyplace else. They're always improving on themselves. When you think that they've built the be-all that ends all, the next time you turn around, you see a better one being built. It's amazing.
All right. We've got the countdown here. Just 5 more. Is it? I'm looking. You know, my eyes are so bad.
Thank you, Mayor Goodman. Believe me, you're too young to have bad eyes.
Peter, back to you.
Well, back to me only for one question to you, Connie. We thank Mayor Goodman very much for coming up. But, Connie, there's also been a Nevada desert experience out there today. And just so that we keep Nevada and the rest of the country in perspective, tell us a little bit about the demonstration held out at Ground Zero.
Yes, as you well know, 65 miles from here is the Nevada test site, which for so many years, I think there were as many as 100 above ground and below ground tests, atomic tests conducted there. And back in those early days when the tests were conducted, people actually found it to be a spectacle. They would hold picnics. There was the atomic hairdo, the atomic cocktail. Today, though, and over the years, there have been demonstrations. And tonight at midnight, there's a demonstration led by Father Daniel Berrigan and actor Martin Sheen. And it's a candlelight procession to the area, 65 miles from here. They will be arrested, in fact, simply given citations, not taken to jail, but it is more a symbolic protest, a quiet protest, and then they will return. These are the dancing waters, Peter. I want you to just take a look in front of the Bellagio, and we're just about 3 minutes and 41 seconds to go. Peter?
Thanks, Connie, very much. I wanted to make a point of mentioning the people who don't necessarily get on television on this very important New Year's Eve, but there was this demonstration against war, as there have been in other places around the world today out in the Nevada desert. And indeed, these are the quite extraordinary dancing waters set to music. Union Square in San Francisco. Vegas. Union Square in San Francisco. To Los Angeles, lest we forget, the lighting of the Hollywood sign. The Hollywood sign is back. Jay Leno and friends.
Yes. Yes, yes, that's what I said. Feliz Navidad.
To Las Vegas.
Tap a buck and a half. stars or the star-studded nights.
Peter.
Come find a brand new girlfriend or bring your wife. Las Vegas will light up your life.
Union Square in San Francisco again. It says it for itself. Ball drop in Las Vegas. Are we going to get it? We're getting Vikings.
What you aren't seeing now, I hope we can get a shot. There, can you see the confetti that's falling from the Eiffel Tower?
Yes.
It's shimmering, and mylar balloons. That is what we ended up with. The human ball was actually there, but you couldn't quite tell it was a human ball here, unfortunately. I guess they were trying very hard to outdo Times Square, but as I'm looking up now, it does sort of look like a champagne bottle popping off, doesn't it? A bit?
Yes, now that you mention it, of course. But as far as Eiffel Towers are concerned, we have to give it to Paris today.
I think so. I saw that, and it was spectacular. But wouldn't you agree that these dancing waters are really quite elegant? Not what you have expected in Las Vegas.
I must say, for whatever reason, my apologies, for whatever reason anybody wants to go to Las Vegas, and there are lots of reasons, to see those dancing waters was quite extraordinary.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was a time, there was a writer who said this was the mecca of glitz that gave bad taste a good name, but that's just not true anymore. I mean, there are many more C's here besides craft. There is culture. There's a $100 million art gallery here. I mean, $300 million art gallery. There are clothes, meaning Armani, Prada, Chanel, you name it. And everything else that you can think of here. It's really very high end now. So you must come, Peter, if you haven't been here in a long time.
Hollywood again.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Connie, and thank you very much for everything. John Brian playing Auld Lang Syne. I don't know how many times we've heard it today, but we have not heard it this way.
Just the sheer excitement carried it through. Yeah, right. That was terrific. That was fantastic. Guy Lombardo never sounded like that.
Somebody said Guy Lombardo. It was not. Jay Leno wishing everybody in California and the rest of the country Happy New Year. Our coverage will continue in just a moment.
Mr. Hill? Yeah, may I speak with you? Privately.
Sure. Excuse me.
I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your credit card, Mr. Hill, who resides at 2965 Pine Street, husband to Carol, father to Jim and Diane.
Mr. Hill, who had an itchy rash all of last summer.
And doesn't hang up the bathroom towels. Your credit card, Mr. Hill, has been Declined.
What if a credit card company could send you an email reminder before you reached your credit limit? Discover Card can do just that.
Thanks.
A friendly credit limit reminder. There's always something more to discover.
My driving test kind of got off to a bad start.
On calls like this, you want to talk a while. That's why it's always a good idea to dial 10-10-321.
Well, I thought I was in first.
With 10-10-321, you save 50% on calls over 10 minutes. Now, that's just 8 cents a minute, day or night.
I was supposed to turn on the blinker.
And no monthly fees. And at 50% off, you can go on and on and on.
So finally, I pull out of the parking space.
Talk as long as you want with 10-10-321.
That could not be matched. Courage that could not be shaken.
I will not wear the clothes of a guilty man.
And a spirit.
We gotta take it to the federal court.
Judge is gonna throw it out. That could not be broken.
Then we transcend the law. We get back to humanity.
Golden Globe Award nominee, Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor, Denzel Washington. The Hurricane. Rated R. Now in select theaters. Check local listings.
Times Square, and let's have a quick look at Union Square in San Francisco. Judy Muller, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great, Peter. You know, all day long we've been watching the rest of the world march into the millennium, and it started to feel like those days when the presidential elections were announced before California voters could get to the polls, and we're going, well, wait, what about us? What about us? And finally, we had our chance to celebrate with the rest of you. I know you must be exhausted, but we're really just starting to party here.
No, I must confess, I'm very invigorated by the celebration in San Francisco, and I was thinking just a few minutes ago that for both you and me, presidential politics is going to seem rather dull after this.
Sure is.
So what's going to happen the rest of the night there?
The rest of the night, people are starting to dance. They're dancing out into the streets, leaving the square. And I think it's going to be just more parties. The hotel where I'm staying right behind me, I believe, is just packed with party goers. So I don't know when we'll get any sleep.
Well, Judy, thanks very much for your coverage. We very much appreciate it. Your mayor out there in San Francisco, Willie Brown, told us a while ago that everything in town has been just as smooth as silk.
It's been beautiful.
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thanks very much, Judy Muller in San Francisco, Union Square, where it started off today as a great celebration of spirituality. We've seen it around much of the world today, people wanting to have a spiritual moment among all of the celebration. We had quite a show out there in Union Square, both spiritual and otherwise tonight. We've managed to catch up with the sets on either side of the Millennium story. It turns out there is not one set of twins in Indianapolis, but 3 sets of twins in Berlin, in Germany, in Fairfax, Virginia, and in Indianapolis. This is Indianapolis. 1 twin born in the 20th century and 1 twin born in the 21st century. There have been times today when those of us in New York have taken slightly of a backhand to Seattle, which should not have occurred. They had a celebration in Seattle tonight. As you know, the city celebration was canceled, but they did have fireworks up there tonight. So from all of us here in the East to all of you in the Pacific Northwest, a very happy New Year. We know it has been a very trying time for you, as it did look for a while very much as if Seattle was going to be a target on this evening. And though it was a very controversial decision, the mayor of Seattle decided first to cancel the public ceremony around that famous needle, the symbol of Seattle in so many ways, and then the private party that was going to be held up there as well was also canceled. But the fireworks tonight in Seattle, we're glad to see, because it engages the city with us and the rest of the world. Speaking of which, ABC's Bob Brown has spent a very long and we think very productive day gathering the highlights of the day as we have moved across the world. And here is his latest rendition of what has happened as one century has turned over to the other.
Past the midnights, toward the dawns, through what people feared might happen and what they hoped would, this has been a day of spectacle in which all the world was a stage. As New York City raised the crystal ball it would drop at midnight, a human conductor led a virtual orchestra with a laser baton, a virtuoso feat of the kind of technology that has defined the end of this millennium. But the fire of old-fashioned enterprise has also played a prominent role. After all, the South Pacific island nation of Kiribati had the international dateline reconfigured so that it would be the first to celebrate the new millennium. Kiribati had seen heavy casualties during World War II when U.S. troops drove out Japanese forces.
My dear child, take this torch of peace and hope from Kiribati so that it may light the whole world.
An old man and a boy headed out to sea in the direction of the next midnight, while dancers chanted a goodbye to the pain of the past in a ceremony of good luck. How quickly things seemed to move after that. In Auckland, New Zealand, the first city that might have experienced a millennium bug, there were no reported problems, only a giant celebration, although it will take much longer to assess what's really happened to the world's computers. And among the midnight theatrics, often staged around familiar landmarks, the Sydney, Australia Opera House offered a performance unlike any that had been seen there before. Dancers representing sea creatures from the harbor roamed the roof as 1 million people watched. China, one of the countries that gave fireworks to the rest of the world, had an impressive display of its own in Shanghai. But officials anxious to dispel concerns that the country could be a Y2K disaster kept its airlines flying past midnight to engender confidence. And in Beijing, the official celebration that started at midnight ended at 12:08. Far away from this performance of a national traditional music troupe in Seoul, Korea, others went up to the demilitarized zone where no photograph signs were posted to hang messages on barbed wire wishing for peace with the North. God, please let these reunions happen, said one. The same hopes for peace in a different area of the world were represented in a joint concert between singers in Dublin, Ireland, and Derry, Northern Ireland. And evidence that hopes can be reached was on Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela spent most of his 26 years in prison before becoming president of South Africa. So many symbols of the past century were lit by their celebrations. Moscow, the capital of a nation which came into being in revolution, became a superpower, then dissolved in disarray. Despite terrible problems, Moscow celebrated in style. But on the Horn of Africa, territory over which the superpowers once struggled, ABC's Jim Wooten found silence.
Going from midnight in Moscow to midnight in Ali Ade, just listen. There's not a sound here. 11,000 refugees from Somalia have gone to bed.
In Bethlehem, despite fears of terrorism, the celebration was peaceful and magnificent before a crowd that was overwhelmingly Palestinian. From the streets of India filled with unbridled celebrations to the stunning views of the Acropolis in Greece, a masterpiece before we began counting these last 2 millennia, the visual feast got better and better. Sights we thought we knew well, such as the Eiffel Tower in Paris, were completely redressed for the occasion. Cities like London added new technological marvels. The Millennium Dome cost more than $1 billion and showed off the old ones as never before. Rio provided a shot of adrenaline that could only have come from Rio. And then it was time for the countdown in the U.S. The clock finally swept into our own time zones as if it had been wound even more tightly by the events that had preceded these for 18 hours. 2 million people let loose in Times Square. There was so much to look at, it boggled the senses. A trip around the world that Jules Verne could barely have imagined. But what stood out among all the pyrotechnics is the humanity that we so often doubt, but saw here on one of its better days, stretched from the great and the small to the ends of the earth.
Thank you, Bob Brown. One of the better days indeed. In a moment, we're going to go to the Big Cypress Seminole Indian Reservation in Florida, where thousands and thousands of their fans caused a stampede to get there tonight just to hear fish. We'll be right back.
This is Unisom Sleep Gels. It helps you sleep. This is Tylenol PM. It helps you sleep too. They both have the exact same amount of the exact same sleep ingredient. But Tylenol PM has added medicine for headaches, backaches, even fever. Do you have a headache? Backache? Fever? Then why take medicine for it? Take Unisom. It's a safe, non-habit-forming way to fall fast asleep.
This is the workshop of radicals. A one-car garage where two young men with $500 in venture capital invented an industry. Their idea was simple. Invent something useful and significant, or it doesn't leave the garage. The idea was so simple, it was radical. Today, the company of Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard is being reinvented. The original startup will act like one again. Watch.
Your New Year's kiss. Save up to $12 now on select Polaroid cameras and film. Here we go. Save now before December 31st.
Well, it rained.
A state of emergency has washed away roads.
For 3 straight days it rained.
A series of storms coming.
Then the levee broke.
4-foot wave washed through town, tore everything up.
A whole lot of people lost everything.
Everything they had. Another problem was we had all this water.
But you couldn't drink a drop of it. That's when the truck from Miller rolled up. I see it and I'm thinking beer.
Beer?
Beer?
But it was water.
They stopped bottling beer?
They stopped bottling beer and bottled water for us instead.
Miller, part of the Philip Morris family of companies, donated thousands of gallons of drinking water to disaster victims last year. For decades, Philip Morris has assisted communities in distress all around the world.
Actually, I could have used a beer right then. But that's another story.
Working to make a difference, the people of Philip Morris.
America's Broadcasting Company wishes you a Happy New Year.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. We are controlling transmission.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey and remind you that the best is yet to come.
Let's play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Welcome to television's new millennium. Brought to you by your friends at ABC.
ABC 2000 continues live from Times Square. Once again, Peter Jennings.
It's a little hard to see it from up here, but the Times 2000 celebration continues in Times Square. It will till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. By that I mean the official celebration that the Times Square organizers have put together, which has been quite spectacular in its own right. Jack Ford is still there. Jack?
Peter, we are indeed still here, and there are a great many people with us. Peter, you will recall, as I do, Broadway show from a few years ago, Guys and Dolls, where one of the lead characters contemplates the quiet of New York City streets just a couple of hours before dawn. That's not going to happen this morning. As you can hear behind me, there are some folks who stayed around here after the ball dropped. There's some other people who have come to Times Square following revelries other places in the city. And as you said, the official festivities have not wrapped up yet. Each hour there's a different theme, a theme punctuated by music and dancing. So the bottom line is, Peter, there are a lot of people still in Times Square. They are not yet ready to surrender their night of celebration to this new millennium.
Can I borrow your cameraman for a moment, or a camera person, and ask them to turn around and take a picture of one of the giant screens, which I think are right behind him or her? And this is what I mean by saying that this, not us, but with the... Well, I probably shouldn't have to do some of these now. Oh, there it is. There's one of the giant screens that are all over Times Square. And this is part of the official Times Square celebration that has gone on all night. So this evocation of history in the century has been going on all day, and they have heard some of the great entertainment there as this day has gone on as well. And I can't think of a day when there's been as much great information. We're going to go now to the big Cypress Seminole Indian Reservation in Florida. There was the biggest traffic jam that we know of in the country was caused on what's sometimes called Alligator Alley, which is South Florida's east to west highway. And it was jammed today with fans of the fish going to the Big Seminole Indian Reservation to hear a fish concert. If you don't know Fish, think Grateful Dead, at least in terms of their dedicated followers. And 75,000 people. It must have been the earliest sold-out concert of anywhere on this Millennium Eve celebration. And they sang for us out on that reservation, and as well for their devotedly fervent fans.
Things are falling down on me, heavy things I could not see. When I finally came around, something small would pin me down. When I tried to step aside, I moved to where they'd hoped I'd be. Vanessa calls me on the phone, reminding me I'm not alone. I fuss and quake and cavitate, I try to speak and turn to stone, till he reaches through my vest to do the thing that she does best. She probes and tears my ventricles, steals my one remaining breath. Things are falling down on me, heavy things I could not see. When I finally came around, something small would pin me down. When I tried to step aside, I moved to where they'd hoped I'd be. Stumbling as I fall from grace, she needs my vision to replace her ailing sight throughout the night, leaving 2 holes in my face. Mary was a friend, I'd say, until one summer day she borrowed everything I owned and then quickly ran away. Things are falling down on me, heavy things I could not see. When I finally came around, something small would pin me down. When I tried to step aside, I moved to where they'd hoped I'd be.
The Fish, four guys from the University of Vermont. 17 years ago, they like to say they were playing in a Vermont bar to one person. Here they are now with the kind of devoted fans everywhere in the country that have in their equivalents probably only those who were so devoted to the Grateful Dead. We'll be back in just a moment.
America Online introduces new version 5.0.
The easiest just got easier. You've got mail, you've got pictures.
Instant messages.
Customer service is always there to help.
If I knew it was this easy, I would have started a long time ago.
America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Do you need this much space to feel comfortable? Do you need to feel the breeze on your face? Is taking a nap really the best use of your time? Introducing the all-new redesigned Avalon, the most spacious, most luxurious sedan we've ever created. Do you need this much space to feel comfortable?
My driving test kind of got off to a bad start.
On calls like this, you want to talk a while. That's why it's always a good idea to dial 10-10-321.
Well, I thought I was in first.
With 10-10-321, you save 50% on calls over 10 minutes. But that's just 8 cents a minute, day or night.
I was supposed to turn on the blinker.
And no monthly fees. And that 50% off, you can go on and on and on.
So finally, I pull out of the parking space.
Talk as long as you want with 10-10-321.
Can you believe it? My husband, Nolan Ryan, has arthritis. So his doctor says stay active and take Advil to make it easier. I take it for my arthritis pain, so we can exercise together.
Advil, stronger than pain.
Before I quit smoking, I asked my doctor, is Nicorette safe? And he said, of course Nicorette is safe. Smoking is not. Nicorette has been proven safe and effective in dozens of clinical trials. And Nicorette offers the Committed Quitter Support Program, which my doc said is clinically proven to increase my chances of success by up to 50%. And when he told me that only Nicorette comes in mint, I knew that that was the right choice for me. So I took my doctor's advice, and you know what? It worked.
You can do it. Nicorette can help.
ABC is television's best, with more Golden Globe nominations than any other broadcast network. Congratulations, The Practice, Once and Again, Spin City, Sports Night, and Dharma and Greg.
They liked my work.
For receiving more nominations than any other broadcast network. Thanks for making ABC television's best.
Wherever you are in the country, we hope you're having a wonderful New Year's celebration. Somebody said here in jest just a moment ago, you can't say we didn't go into the 21st century with music in our hearts. We're going to take you to two very special places now to hear two very special American musicians. First to Clearwater, Florida to hear Ray Charles, and then to Raleigh, North Carolina to hear James Taylor.
Here's my song for the millennium. Reading old magazines, I've been reading. Every time I sing this song, I sing for Georgia, oh Georgia, the whole day through. This old street song keep Georgia on my mind. I know I said Georgia, Georgia. I find I'm so glad tonight that this old street song Oh, it's this song to keep joy on my mind. Oh, I feel around and feel oh, the arms reach out to me. You hear me? Oh, the eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see. I know the road. How the road leads back to you, girl. Well, now, oh, my Georgia, oh, my Georgia. And I got no peace I find. I tell all you people, it's this old sweet song. No. Keep Georgia, my man, yeah. Well, oh, my man, no. Lost in the old sweet song. Keep Georgia over my head. Yeah, people, the little girls on my mind. Ain't she?
In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to keep me from behind? And I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Karen, she's a silver sun. You best walk her in and watch her shining. Watch her watch the morning come. The silver tear appearing now while I'm crying. Ain't I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. There ain't no doubt in no one's mind that love's the finest thing around. Whisper something soft and kind. And hey babe, the sky's on fire, I'm dying. And I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Say, can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to keep me from behind? And I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Dark inside, late last night, you might have heard the highway call. Peace in flight and dogs at fight. time I think gone Carolina in my mind. My mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Oh, you're just like a friend of mine, taking me from behind. And I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Well, I'm going to Carolina in my mind. Sure, I'm already gone wherever I'm going. Say nice things about me wherever I'm going. You have to carry on without me wherever I'm going. I'll be going to Carolina, Carolina. Yes, I'm going to Carolina. In my
James Taylor, among the many performers who have helped us celebrate this millennium. I hope you'll forgive me, but having been here almost 24 hours, you get a little sentimental, and you'll give me just one moment of mawkishness before we go. Roger Goodman, our director, can I have a shot of the control room, please? Because when we started off today, we said this was going to be an enormous technological challenge for us to bring the world together, and hundreds of people, get a hold of yourself, Jennings, hundreds of people at ABC News have made it possible. But I want to thank particularly Tom Yellen, Mark Burstein, Phyllis McGrady, and Gary Smith, our producers, without whom we would not have got through the day, and Vince in audio. Vince, I don't think you ever missed a cue all day, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a tour de force. And here in the studio, if I may, she'll hate it, but may I never have to do a broadcast without Nancy Gabriner. Aaron Brown talked to a lot of people around, well, it has been a long time. Aaron Brown's been talking to a lot of people around the country and around the world on what this day has meant to them.
In the majesty of it all, it was easy to see it as just one huge party, a giant global made-for-TV celebration. But it's been much more. Athens at midnight was a reminder that we celebrate a millennium, 1,000 years. More time than you can get your mind around. Many of the South Pacific islands that ushered in the new year hadn't been formed yet 1,000 years ago. The British didn't know the Chinese existed, and vice versa. 1,000 years is just too much. So for most, the celebration is for something smaller, 100 years, often less. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela and his countrymen could celebrate a century that ended in freedom. In Ireland and Northern Ireland, a shared celebration, an old song, and a new hope that the troubles, as they call them, may be over. And what a century it has been for the Russians, from the czars to the dictators to uncertainties. And what a century it has been for the United States, the American century. And together, the fireworks that lit the skies in every corner of the globe seem to celebrate a most simple truth. We made it. It wasn't always easy or even certain, but we did.
Thank you, Aaron Brown, very much for a long day of service. One of our division's best writers, working hard all day long. If you've wondered what's been going on, and I'm sure you have, at the Millennium Dome, which we saw so much of earlier in London, here's a little bit of what they've been doing.